Hi everyone, and welcome back to Keys to the Coast, where we bring you the people, places, and properties that make the coast home. I'm your host Kensie, and today we're kicking off a new mini-series that we're going to be calling the Market Minute. Quick but powerful episodes focused on what's really going on in West Michigan real estate. And with me today is someone you're going to love hearing from, one of our seasoned experts and our go-to when we want to make sense of market shifts, Kelly Radel.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Before we get into the numbers, I want everyone to get to know you. Can you give us a quick version of who you are, how long you've been in real estate, and what brought you into the industry?
Quick? I don't know about quick. I've earned these grays. I've been at this about 20 years, and I grew up in Whitehall and met my wife up there. So we've been married about 24 years now.
That's awesome.
And so, we've seen a lot through the 2008 crash.
Yes.
Came back strong here in West Michigan, and prices from there have continued to grow, and just watching all these different trends.
Yeah. How long have you been a part of the industry or a part of the team?
I started with Sandy about 10 years ago this August.
Wow, that went by fast.
Yeah, we were very blessed to. The way we met was fun. I'll explain that. We did a deal. She had the listing, I had the buyer, and the way we wrote the deal up was we had 15-day home inspection and a 15-day cash close.
Okay.
So we had the home inspection right up to the last minute.
Oh my.
It was brutal. The deal fell apart the last hour of the last day. I
feel like I remember because I was working as an admin during this. So I was kind of answering the phone calls when you were trying to get a hold of Sandy.
Yes, yeah.
So I remember this.
It was such a hard time, and she handled it great. I handled it great. We just kind of grew together through it.
Yeah.
And she invited me on her team from there. So it worked out well, but when a deal falls apart at the last minute, that's just never a good day.
Yes, and that happens every day too. The stress that comes with this job. Just obviously we're dealing with people's biggest investments. So yeah, it's very stressful. But I feel like those hard deals or the ones that fall apart are the ones that help us grow. And every deal is different. There's no two that are the same. Yeah,
we really do walk people through the process daily. And you think you know everything until you get one of those.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Sandy, I remember I'll ask her, like, is there anything you haven't seen? And, first she'll be like, probably not. And then something will happen where she's like, this is new.
Yeah.
But we have to learn to pivot and adapt, and that's what she's great at. And you are great at as well. Kelly's our go-to. So whenever there's a problem, we go to Kelly, and he helps resolve it for us.
Yeah, we cut our teeth. And I did in 2008 with the market shift there. We had to purchase a bunch of bank foreclosures and fix them up. So we went through the rehab projects, and then we did a lot of land contracts, lease options. So I learned a bunch about that back then. And then the market got stronger, so people started selling off all those contracts. So yeah, just learned a lot through the years with all the different things.
And that's what I was in high school in 2008, so I don't quite remember the real estate industry then. And it's so nice to have you guys going through, some of the hardest times in real estate to be able to walk us through when there is a difficult market shift.
Yeah, we love being a team. Everybody brings something together, and together we all are better together. So
You've definitely seen the market go through some seasons, as we just talked about. That's what makes your insights so valuable. What's really happening right now in West Michigan?
Well, if you're a seller who's owned their house for any number of years, 2 to 5 minimum, you have some great equity in that home. It has grown tremendously in the last, I'd say 5-6 years. We've had many buyers who have purchased, and then life changes.
Yep.
They have to sell, and they're walking with a lot of equity.
Yeah.
And we're very, very proud to be able to bring that to them and help them walk through those. They'll walk with $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 sometimes, and just from living in the house, they haven't really upgraded it or done anything huge, to the house. It's just the market has shifted that much.
Right. Especially if you purchased in 2017, 18.
Yeah.
I feel like that's right before that big jump of COVID in 2020 happened. where, you could still buy a home pretty affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And, now those same homes are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000
It's
higher.
amazing. Yeah, the jumps that have been made, or the amount that people can really, it really changes their lives, So
Right.
it's fun to be able to walk them through that process.
Right. So let's set the scene. As of this month, May 2025, what is the overall vibe of the West Michigan market?
If what we're seeing here on our team is if you have a house that's, 450, we're going to sell probably in 15 days or less.
Yeah, I'd say if priced accurately.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good, when we look at houses, we kind of say, is it a 1, 2, or 3, meaning 1 really bad, 2 it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
or 3 it's decked out, So
Yep.
on a 2, 3, they'll sell
Mm-hmm.
15 days or less.
Right.
We are
Yep.
getting max equity, sometimes still getting multiple offers on those.
Mm-hmm.
We are typically a 30-day close,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes we can get possession for that seller to move out afterward. That's a real West Michigan thing, by
I
the
was
way.
just going to bring that up. Delayed possession. I've had some clients who moved here from California and Florida. And I mean, probably there is some of that over there, but
Mhm.
they had never heard of possession or delayed possession. So I think that's a good thing to quick talk about. So what is delayed possession?
Yeah, so we use it as a negotiating tool for different sellers. When you have multiple offers, you're trying to give that seller every option that you
Mm-hmm.
can to win that bid.
Right?
And delayed possession, we call it, or possession after close.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll do 15 or 30 days, and that will give the seller the money they need
Mm-hmm.
from the sale.
Yep.
And then it will give them the time to move out and not be under the pressure to be out beforehand. And then, kind of like that scenario I gave where the deal fell apart on,
Right.
on the
Yeah.
ninth hour there, they're assured that it's going to close, and then they can move out. So
Yep.
it's a great tool. It's a very West Michigan tool.
It is.
My Chicago buyers, like you said, California,
Mhm.
we have some from Cincinnati and Detroit. They're kind of like, no.
Right.
You're going to
right.
give me those keys today.
Yes. And granted, most of the time we can do immediate possession,
Mhm.
but I'm in the process of purchasing a home, and the sellers of the home that we purchased are building a new construction. So she's not going to be able to move in till the 1st of July, actually. So that was just a tool that we could use to give her that time. She wanted to obviously close as soon as possible, but then we got to give her that delayed possession time. And thankfully, the buyers of our home could give us the same thing. So, in situations like that where newer construction, it's kind of out of our hands. So
Yeah,
it's a good tool.
Yeah, we see that with our team. We're constantly looking for the win-win.
Mhm.
If we can put a deal together
Mm-hmm.
where the seller wins, the buyer wins, and we're able to connect those two together, it's the best feeling in the world to
It
be able
is.
to bring that together.
Mm-hmm. Closing days are so fun. We tried to make closing days really a big deal here. It's so exciting. Someone closing on their first home, especially the first-time home
Mhm,
buyers. That's just my favorite. Or, someone downsizing their family home. It can be an emotional day.
Mhm.
They're leaving their family home and purchasing a condo or something smaller. So it's such a big deal, and I love being able to be a part of these family stories. Buyer demand is softening or surging?
What's your thoughts on that one?
It's a hard question. I would say here in West Michigan is such a bubble, I would say, because we're located so close to the water. So I feel like there's always going to be a higher demand here because
Mhm.
people like to be closer to the water. I would still say that buyer demand, there's part of me that wants to say softening and part of me that's saying surging, because I do have a lot of buyers out there
Mhm.
looking right now. But I feel like buyers are more educated. They're not buying as emotionally as they were maybe in 2020.
2020 was, yeah.
When rates were low. So then, buyers were a little more apt to make a quicker decision because interest rates were so low. Where now they're more educated. We're running the numbers.
Mhm.
We're running those taxes being reassessed, and we're taking a closer look. So I would say both.
Yeah, it's really difficult because, like you said, we have so much waterfront.
Yep.
We are so blessed along the west side here. We have buyers constantly coming to us. Now, the product is just what it is. There's just not a lot of listings out there.
Mhm.
So, and then there's not a lot of lakefront listings.
Right.
And so when you start really dialing in on that, there is probably 2 or 3 buyers for every one of these houses. It's just not the right fit or the right time.
Right.
There's just always all these different scenarios that run behind it.
Yeah.
I think for sure we still, as we talk in our Monday morning meetings, everybody has, 6, 8 buyers that are looking.
Right.
But finding that right fit has been very difficult right now.
So, and obviously this is an easier one, but inventory is up or down, in your opinion?
I still think we need more houses on the market.
Agreed.
I would say if West Michigan could, increase in building would be amazing. The new builds that do come out, they go fast. We see that from 350 on up to 950. They're still moving very, very quickly.
Right.
So the new builds, if we had a magic wand and we could have another 100 of those on the market, they would sell in the next 3 months. I mean, there's definitely a demand there for that.
Okay, so let's talk median house prices to maybe someone who's not familiar with West Michigan. What would you say the median house price is in Ottawa County?
Yeah, I kind of look at the West Michigan from South Haven all the way up to Manistee, Ludington.
More like the Lakeshore.
Yeah, we run that whole stretch there. And kind of what we'll see is that 450, 500 would be right dead center.
Yep.
And again, that's pretty much a standard 4-3, 4-bedroom, 3-bath.
Yep.
And full basement, 2-stall garage, maybe a 3-stall garage. That's pretty common up and down the Lakeshore.
Days on market, would you say the days on market are increasing or decreasing?
We're definitely on an increase on the days on market. Like we talked about with 2020, they were just like, hey, here's a house. I'll take it. It's just, I remember shaking hands in 2020 with a new buyer that I've never met.
Yep.
And I said, I know this house says 450, but if you want it, it's going to be probably more 480.
I know. Those are some hard conversations.
Those were so tough back then.
Right.
And they would just kind of look at you and tilt their head and think, do I trust this guy? Is he telling the truth? Now, that same house today is probably around 600.
Yeah.
It has just, they love us now that they were able to get the house, you know. It was legit.
40 offers, no inspections. That's something, me personally, I never recommend. Even on, some newer constructions, you always want to get a home inspection just because you want them to know exactly what they're walking into. And even on some newer construction homes, there can be things. But, I mean, it was a Wild West.
It really was. And we didn't create it, but we were willing to walk through it with the buyers. So.
And now I feel like that's been a lot of my business this year is people selling. Granted, they are giving up that 3% interest rate or less. So that was, a conversation that we're having. But, your life changes. And maybe that first time home that even though you have a great rate on, you have $300,000 of equity. So you're able to put that down on a new home that better fits your family or your situation.
Yeah, I think life happens to everybody. It comes and it goes. They always say, well, what's the best time to buy? What's the best time to sell? When the market's doing this, the tariffs, all the things, And I think when it's right for you, you just know because life will show you the right steps there.
Yeah, that's so important. That's what I say too. When people, we want to time the market perfectly. I'm like, it's impossible. You need to do what's best for you and in your time.
Yeah, if people ask me as buyers, I've saved up 20% down for, approximately this much house. Should I jump now? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, absolutely. Today's the day because you're ready. The market will always shift. It will always bring highs and lows. But as an average, you're going to increase that. The value of that house is going to increase over time, and you're going to have a good product to sell when you need to. Right.
So one thing we can't make more of is land.
I love it. You know the old song, that's not that old, but Buy Dirt.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. That's not that old.
That's not that old.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always in my head when I go look at houses with people.
Just playing on your car when you pull
get
up
all
to every
pumped
showing.
up. Yeah.
Okay, if I'm a buyer, what should I be doing right now? If I want to buy, let's say, in the next 3 months.
Yeah, I would definitely, every buyer that I talk to, I'm like, hey, let's get some down payment. Where are you at with that? How are things going at the job? How much have you been able to save? I think it's not something that you can necessarily be ready for in 3 months, but if you're thinking about buying in today's market, you got to have some down payment. The interest rates They're going to continue to come down. We're told over the next year.
We wish we had a crystal ball.
Yeah. Bouncing around that 7%. We're hoping to be down in the 6s by the end of the year, is what we're told from uppers in management at RE/MAX. And so we're very optimistic of that. We watch the markets as well. We listen to a lot of information, just like all of you are listening, and we're super thankful for. But yeah, prices are not going to crash. They're going to continue to increase. Interest rates are going to come down. But as a new buyer, I would say, you really need to have that down payment. You need to make sure that you have a good, strong pre-approval.
Yes.
There's several great lenders out there, and each one will tell you we can get you pre-approved. But I would say, really work on making sure you're yoked up with somebody that you can know and trust.
And that's one thing, too, I'd like to say. There's a lot of lenders out there, a lot of great marketing pitches you'll see on social media and such, but always just make sure you're getting a couple quotes. Because even if the rate looks better on paper, they may have built it in somewhere. So make sure you are getting a good faith quote.
We have a Monday morning meeting each week, and we go over things like that with our lenders, our insurance guys, all the real estate agents. Who am I missing? Home inspections in there. Really just looking to make sure that we give the best advice to buyers and sellers. And so we kind of have all the professionals together each week.
Okay, ask for sellers. What is your best advice in today's market for a seller?
Well, with the sellers, being that the market is so thin, I really, and our whole team, Sandy and I are kind of leading the team to say, be aggressive on price, hold the line. We talk to all of our counterparts out there in the real estate world, and prices are coming down. We keep hearing all that stuff, and we are holding the line and getting top dollar for our sellers. So I would say, don't be afraid of 15 to 20, 25 days on market. That's probably the biggest takeaway right now is, well, my neighbor sold last month and they were only on for 3 days. Well, we're going to make you another $15,000 if you just hang on an extra 15 days. And so that would be my biggest advice right now is know that we're not in 2021, 22, 23. We are a little bit slower on market, but prices are still holding on. And, Sandy and I have done a great job of kind of leading the team on marketing and where to set the price on these houses. So
I'd say the biggest thing, though, is pricing accurately because, and you touched on it, it's not 2020, it's not 2021. There are a lot of sellers out there who think the prices are still back there, and so the main thing is if, we always say you're the boss, this is where we recommend pricing, this is probably where we're going to end up selling. It is ultimately up to our sellers to set the price. And, if you price high and you sit on the market for long enough, then ultimately you end up selling for less.
Yeah, there is a catch-22 there.
There is. So listen to your agents, and know that we're doing a lot of research when it comes to your pricing and where we're putting your pricing at. And we're looking at what it may appraise for. We're looking down the road of what can come up in inspections, appraisals, and that all does play into the price. So overpricing right now, I think, can be a huge obstacle for sellers as well.
We do see that often, and that's when you do see the prices drop, and then all of a sudden you lost $15,000.
Yep.
And so, we definitely are watching those numbers closely every day, every week. And it's weird because people are like, does the market change that fast? Yes, absolutely it does.
Almost day to day, it can.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do some quick myth busts very quickly. True or false?
Okay.
The prices are going to crash.
Not at all. That is 100% false.
Interest rates are ruining the market.
No, that's again false.
You need 20% down to buy.
That again is false. Man, you set me up for 3 easy ones. Yeah. Yeah, we are definitely not crashing anytime soon. The interest rates are slowing down, and what we see is as the economy continues to get stronger, those rates will come down this year.
Very clear. Thank you. Are you seeing any new trends like relocations, investment activity, or people buying second homes again?
Well, because we do so much on the lakeshore, a lot of those our second buys.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we have seen an increase in that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We see that happening. For West Michigan right now, we have such a big influx of actually California and Chicago. We just talk to almost daily, don't we?
Yep, about Chicago buyers.
Yeah, and they're paying quite a bit of taxes there.
Mm-hmm.
They can sell quite a bit higher there than we can, so they'll move across what I call the pond.
Yep.
and so they live a great life here for half of where their value is there, and the taxes are half.
Same conversation with California buyers too.
Yeah.
What they're paying out there for, a 3-bedroom home to here is astronomically different.
Yeah.
And property taxes there too. I mean, it's wild. I have some buyers right now who are living less than 1,000 square feet, and they just sold for $1.2 million. And now they're here, and they're just floored with the home that they can afford and the property taxes.
Yeah, they'll sell for $1.2 million, $1.5 million out there, and come here for $550,000. Same exact house.
Yeah.
Same year built.
It's wild.
Yeah, and taxes are half. So.
Not saying that our taxes are great here. I mean, for what we're used to, compared to some other states.
These big cities, yeah. Yeah, we just sold one with the guy from LA, and the whole work from home thing is still going on, and so he's able to move out here, live by the water. He said he's just so much more at peace, just walking the trails at night.
Yes.
We have so many trails to walk, as you heard from last week from Sarah, and people are getting out of that big city, and still, I think 2020 really opened that up. It really gave kind of a glimpse of West Michigan, and what we're seeing now is just kind of the residuals of that. People are still moving.
Okay, what's one thing you're watching in the next 60 to 90 days that could shift the market?
Well, as I kind of watched the inventory, May 1 was kind of our opening season when we talk about for opening season for deer hunting in October, and then in West Michigan, it was opening season for many, many houses came on, and we really felt like it was our kickoff every year.
Yep, and no one wants to move in West Michigan winter. So I feel like everyone gets in the, okay, we're ready. I mean, myself included, we're ready to move.
Here. Yeah, if you have not lived through a winter, you have not lived, my friend. Yeah. One of the big things we are seeing, again, our economy is just tough on people, and so I don't know about you, but family of 4, and we're going to Meijer, the grocery store here, and still dropping $400 or $500 to get out of that door.
Very real.
Very real. Gas prices are still tough. We've been watching people starting to pay back their student loans.
Yep. That was a big shift too.
Big shift in people's. So we're watching kind of those things. And, obviously we got to get those interest rates down. We got to really drive that, economy's got to continue to get stronger and drive. And I think that's going to help. I'm interested to see how the taxes play out for everybody in the next couple of years. And if the tariffs are really going to do what they're supposed to do. So those are all things, those are real things that we're watching, and we're smart enough agents to not get involved with the political of the day-to-day of everybody and to get into those camps. But those are real things that are happening, and we're watching them closely.
Thanks for breaking all that down. Some real talk without some of the fluff. Now, if you're listening and wondering what your home is worth or how to navigate buying or selling, please reach out to us. There's never any pressure, just some real advice. We'll keep these Market Minute episodes coming, so be sure to follow the show. And if you have a question that you would like answered on air during our next Market Minute, shoot us a message on Instagram or visit sandygentry.com. And if you're ready to take the next steps, Kelly and I and our amazing team are just a call or DM away. Now let's end with what's going on in West Michigan this weekend. We're going to do this again every episode because we're going to be always launching on Thursdays. So we're walking into the weekend. So let's talk about what is going on this weekend.
Hey, great weekend coming up, guys. Memorial Day weekend.
I cannot believe it's already Memorial Day.
Crazy?
That's wild.
It's wild. 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. in Grand Haven is the Memorial Day parade starting again 9:30. It's from 6th Street. If you're right downtown here, it's 6th Street in Washington is where it's going to start, and you'll have all the details once you get there. So that's really, really exciting. We also have in Muskegon the USS Silverside Submarine Museum. It kicks off this weekend as well. So we're super excited. Have you ever been through that?
I have. I think when I was little, I mean, you see it driving by, but no, I need to go back now that I'm an adult and bring Ayla through.
Yeah, that'd be cool. What else is happening?
So this isn't just specifically to West Michigan, but anyone that lives in Michigan knows about Michigan Adventures. So Michigan Adventures is opening.
So you know when I was a kid, this is kind of dating myself, it was called Deer Park.
Deer Park?
You would pay to go pet deer.
Oh.
And I don't know what else you did, but I remember doing that in the late 80s, early 90s, and that was a good time.
Deer Park. Okay, well now it's Michigan Adventures, and it is opening Friday, May 23rd. So we're excited for another amazing season as it's opening weekend. So they have the favorite rides like Shivering Timbers, Woodstock Express, and not to mention the endless fun of thrill rides and family rides, and also the water park. I don't know when the water park's opening. I think that's later, but
it's always Buck Wild. That's all.
Buck Wild. There's his key, Buck Wild.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Wait, that's not my job. What are you doing?
Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on Keys to the Coast.